one more video this week. I have already said that right now this hype of Alien Discloser is again pretty high because we're coming towards the time of the rapture. I'm not saying this year the rapture happens. I'm just saying the Feast of Trumpets is when the rapture will happen someday. Don't know when. And every year before that time, they open up more alien disclosure. They talk about more alien presence in our world. So I have been watching Redacted for many years, and I'm not saying they're not followers of Jesus, and I definitely don't believe everything they're saying. I think it's interesting, though, that I believe there may be more oppositional, controlled opposition than anything. In other words, they pretend like they are awake and they report on, not necessarily mainstream stuff, but they, I believe, still are part of this world. And so they're being used. That's my gut feeling. They're used for worldly propaganda. Yeah, I would even say it's Satan's propaganda, because Satan is developing this idea of alien presence. So these aliens are here. I heard a couple of weeks ago, maybe, that Congress was talking about 4 different races of aliens. And what did YouTube do? Give me a Wikipedia explanation that the what were the ones? The reptilians are just fiction. They're from myth. Congress came up with this. Okay? They admitted these are the 4 categories. Which are the 4 categories? Of course, they were the gray, the Nordic, the reptilian, and the insectoids. Again, I have no interest in the reptilians, the shapeshifters as they call them. Do they really, really exist? I don't know. Can the fallen angels appear like shape-shifting reptilians? Maybe. Insectoids, whatever. But here I just listened to an interview with a Dr. Michael Sala talking about Huntsville Space Force Center. They want to move the Space Force Center to Huntsville, Alabama. Right now it's here in Colorado Springs, Peterson Field Air Force Base. It's been here for 4 years or whenever. It's been here for a while. Now they want to move it back to Huntsville. They moved here for some reason, and now they're going to move it back to Huntsville. Why to Huntsville? Well, this guy is making a connection with the Nordics. He was telling whoever this guy is that does Redacted, Clayton, I think. Yeah, Clayton. Was telling him that they had, 20 pilots, international pilots, coming to Huntsville to be trained by a Nordic. Trained in flying some kind of hybrid UFOs, flying objects. That's what he's saying. Hey, I would check it out. It says breaking Putin's, no, here's the secret UFO space base in Huntsville. Redacted live. Usually they break this is their daily where they have a whole bunch of information and then they break it down to the individual topics. And if I find it, I will put it on the bottom. So with the Dr. Michael Salla, and he was telling about this, what they're doing in Huntsville, planning. Underground, yeah, an underground bunker. Have already planned maybe? I don't know. So these people have worked with reverse engineering and they have worked with these supposedly Nordics. Well, come on, they look like human, and he says human-like people. And so how do I know they're not just human beings? For me, that's kind of fishy. I'm not doubting that they could be Nordics or aliens. And what does that mean? They are fallen angels. Can they appear like human, human beings? Yes. Human-like angels? Yes. But this stuff is going out, again, unredacted. How many people will hear it? 2 million people, I think. Yeah, lots of people will hear it. Alternative news. And they're being prepared for this alien, that aliens are here. And that the government is working with these aliens. Of course, government has been working with these aliens for a long time. Hello, don't be fooled. We know it. Now they are opening it up more and more. They will have their little whistleblowers that are telling us more and more information. Again, preparation for us to accept the alien presence. For years, no, aliens don't exist. Even still today, oh no, aliens don't exist. I want to see if, let's just looking if maybe Wikipedia put something on the bottom, which they always do. But with Nordics, I don't think they do. If you say reptilian, they will put something on the bottom. Because they think that reptilians. But Nordics, no. Because, hey, you can say that over and over again, and it will, not prompt them to put something, little note on the bottom. What does that mean? Well, yeah, Nordics, they could be fallen angels, for sure. For very sure. And we have had many accounts of people interacting with these, what they call Nordics. What they are, they have very light skin, blonde hair. I don't know if they have blue eyes or what they have, but they are very light-skinned people. And that's why they call them Nordics. But we know that they're aliens. Or they say they are. Again, we don't know 100% what are they. Because see, they don't just come out and say, oh yeah, we are fallen angels. They don't just come out and say who they are really and where they're really from. No. They're beating around the bush. And see, how are they coming? Like almost human-like. So we don't have to be afraid of them. So we can trust them. Oh, they have been working with us for years, and they're just helping us. giving us this information, and they're training us into this technology. Yeah, sure, because we got this technology from these aliens, from these fallen angels. All of our technology is from the fallen angels. The technology is there, again, ultimately to control people. And we are dumb enough to think, oh, they have a benevolent idea or purpose with this whole thing. No, their purpose is to control humankind absolutely. No wiggle room. They want to control humankind, and on top of it, they want to change humankind's DNA. That's the way it is. They don't want humans are frail, humans are fallen, humans are faulty. We all know that. And they're saying, oh yeah, Satan, fallen angels, Nordics, aliens, they can guarantee that we will create or change humankind into a more perfect being. Yeah, that's what they're going to say. And whose fault is it that we are in the dilemma we're in? It's Satan's fault from the beginning. He altered our DNA when we rebelled against God. Our DNA was altered, and that's why we became faulty. Now, I don't know, did God do it? God put whatever fruit it was, the fruit we ate, he put that in the fruit, I believe. That changed our DNA. Satan knew it. Satan knew that when we are eating that fruit, that our DNA would be altered and we become fallen, sinful creatures. Yeah. And the longer we are here, the worse we get. The more our body decays, in a sense. The body of humankind. I think we get more and more faulty DNAs that leads to more and more breakdowns, not only in our mental ability, that we have a lot more depression, suicidal, schizophrenia tendencies, but also in our bodies, that we have more, that we get more sick. That's what my thinking is. If you think something different, let me know. I really always appreciate your ideas and your research. I really appreciate that. So please comment. Comment what you think. But it's really interesting, yeah, listen to this Dr. Michael Sala. And I will put it on the bottom if I find just the video with Dr. Michael Sala. If not, I will put this video on it, and you're just going to have to go to where they have that interview with him. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was actually researching it because, hey, yeah, not too long ago, that's when they moved Space Force headquarters to Colorado Springs. And yeah, that was a big thing. And people were happy with that we get this extra infrastructure or whatever, jobs. And then now they're pulling it again and taking it to Huntsville. That costs a lot of money, people. Moving these kinds of things and then having to build again another facility. I don't know, maybe Peterson wasn't that big, but I don't know. Peterson would have been, I'm sure, a good choice because you have NORAD here so close. But I guess they moved the Stargate. Huh? And I hope you know what I mean by moving Stargate. I hope you know that show, the Stargate, which was located in the series and the movie in NORAD here in Cheyenne Mountain, which is not too far from Peterson Field. But under Peterson Field, there's a lot of underground bunkers. So I don't know, I guess they're just creating another one, or have already created it under Huntsville, and so now they're moving it there. Of course, Trump doesn't have anything to do with it. He just goes by whatever the fallen angels tell him, that's where you're going to go. We are under their control, have been under their control for a long time. Very, very long time. As we know, if you know my videos, you know that Satan took control of the United States very early on. The founding fathers, they tried to get away somewhat from Europe and under the thumb of papacy. But very, very soon after that, papacy, again, that was their plan, to destroy the democracy of the United States. And today, they did. They have destroyed. And you know that papacy is in the hands of the fallen angels or Lucifer. Okay? Or Lucifer. So this thing in Revelation 13, when it says, the beast out of the earth, which is the United States, looked like a lamb but spoke like a dragon. It's not a dragon, it's the dragon. The way the United States speaks today is like the dragon, like Satan himself. Yeah, people scream that's not true. No. Okay? Now, it is true. It is true. And what happens in the United States is dragon activity. Dragon activity. And I'm not surprised, if the government works with these Nordics, which are fallen angels. They have been working with them since, I don't know, Roosevelt already worked with these aliens. We know that. Okay? We should know that. And even before that. So they have been working with these aliens with reversed, they call it reversed technology, right? Alien technology. There's no reverse technology. They give it to them. They don't have to pretend like they found it someplace because some alien ship crash landed. Come on, really? They're coming from another galaxy. They're coming from another whatever where they're coming from. And they get here and they crash land? Would you think that their technology is good enough that they make it here and back and don't have to crash land? Yeah, of course, it could be so, but there's nobody coming from another, from another galaxy or another planet or whatever. They're here, they have been here. If they're coming from anywhere, they're coming from another dimension. That's all. Okay, maybe there's a dimension between our dimension and heaven, because they were kicked out of heaven, right? We see that in Revelation 12. They were kicked out of heaven. Dragon was, with his angels. 1/3 of the angels were kicked out with him. So if he was kicked out of heaven, that's the place where Jesus is. So was he directly kicked into this dimension, or is there a dimension in between? I almost think there is a dimension in between heaven and our dimension. And they can be in that dimension, and that's why they can appear and disappear. So in other words, they can appear here, and because then they go into the next dimension and they can appear someplace else, and nobody has any idea from why they would come from here to here without being detected. So yeah, they can do that because maybe they can manipulate this three-dimensional world, this materialistic world. Maybe What else can you think about it? When we see flying objects, yeah, they can phase in and out of dimensions. That's why they move the way they do. And many researchers, UFO researchers, alien researchers, they say that. They say it's not dimensional from another space, from another galaxy or whatever, planet, but interdimensional. They're saying they're coming from another dimension. So they're fading in and out from another dimension. So yeah, okay, if they've been kicked out from heaven, there is another dimension in between the two of these. At least that's what I think. Please let me know what you think. Because this idea about, that we're having dimensions, we hear today quite a lot about parallel universes. We're practically brainwashed and programmed to believe in these parallel universes. We see constantly TV shows that deal with that. Now, personally, I don't believe in parallel universes. I believe in multidimensional universe. In other words, yeah, there is multiple dimensions, but not parallel universes that we have different Earth like these, different ones. I think that is nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. But there's definitely other dimensions. And I don't understand it very well either. Okay? Don't understand very well. How can you go from, this dimension, 3-dimensional, to a 4th dimensional, a 5th dimensional, 6th dimensional? I believe that's the way it is. We cannot imagine that because our brain, I guess, doesn't figure that one out. But anyways, I wanted to bring you this information before I go on my break. And keep your eyes and ears open because that's what is going on. They're giving you more and more information about aliens. Alien Discloser. And then, you know what? It's going to fade away for the next year or so. It's going to fade away again. And they're going to ramp it up again in the summer next year. That's if the rapture hasn't happened. If the rapture happens, they're going to use it to fool the world to believe that the aliens took the people that were just taken by Jesus. And keep that in mind. And yes, you know what? We still can be here quite a long time. Because this 2025 is really probably most likely not the time. I suspect, according to my thinking, that it may be, again, 2020, sorry, that it will be 2033 or even later. It could even be 20. Well, anyways, it could be later, 33 would make sense. It's either next year or 2033. And the reason why is, I will talk about that in another video. It has to do with wormwood. There's only two possibilities. Wormwood is either coming close to the Earth 29 or 36. So close to that wormwood, before wormwood, would think 2-3 years before wormwood, that's when the rapture will happen. And that is if wormwood is, if Apophis, okay, is wormwood. So, only that much. I will make a video about it some other time. I have done some research on it and maybe I'll share it in my next video. Let the Holy Spirit guide you. Be always prepared for Jesus to pick us up, whether it's we're alive and we're transformed and he's going to pull us out, or whether we are dead and the resurrection happens and we will be in the resurrection, which is the resurrection rapture. That means we will receive a transformed body, and we will be with him in a twinkling of an eye. He will bring our souls back with him. We will get a transformed body, and we will be with him. And those that are still alive, their bodies will be transformed in a twinkling of an eye, and in a snatch and a flash, they will be with the Lord. None of this collecting or gathering. Okay, none of that. It'll be in a flash. We either going to be resurrected or we're going to be snatched out. None of this nonsense with the angels coming to collect us. Let the Holy Spirit guide you. Keep your eyes open. Let me know. Give me, like I said, I'm very thankful for all your information that you are collecting. Collect information. Let us know when you're seeing things. Somebody said, well, no, 25 is not the date because things still have to happen. Well, let me know what these things are. What does still have to happen? I don't see anything that still needs to happen. They're already getting the Alien Discloser ready because that's what they're going to use. They're preparing World War III. Yes, I guess they are just kind of dragging it on, right? They're dragging it, so they're not totally starting. I'll tell you, once, Russia has enough, once they get the green light, they will run. They will run. Right now, they're just keeping it until something will happen and they will start Third World War. And I think it is going to be in connection with the rapture. Coming to an end, let the Holy Spirit guide you always.